if you've got a client that's post-knee replacement and they're about that 3 to 6 week mark where they're starting to be able to bend quite a bit, they don't have that really angry swelling in the knee, these are some of the most common exercises that I like to use. So first we're going to have a chair right beside the reformer facing the back end here. I've got that gear bar all the way in, that stopper is also all the way in. I have one heavy spring, but again, it really depends on what you'd like to do. We're working on terminal knee extension here, so thinking of pressing that carriage out all the way to the end and then folding it in. And if your client's able to tolerate it, you can always have them sitting even closer to get that active assisted flexion in the knee to get that desired bend. But because they're a little bit acute or subacute, sometimes sitting a little bit further back can be more comfortable, so they don't have to be forced into full flexion if that's not something that they can, if it's not something that they can really tolerate. So this is the most accessible of all of the exercises. The next one would be very similar, but lying on their backs. So as you can imagine, we're going to have this foot bar all the way to the top, but getting into the reformer can be really, really tricky. So oftentimes what I like to do is keep it down, place the platform extender in. I always make sure that I've got my spring settings kind of sorted out ahead of time. You're going to take the stopper, put it all the way out to the end here, and then you're going to take the gear bar, place it all the way out to the end. So I'm at 6 and then I'm at 3, just to give your client the most amount of room possible, because we know that that knee flexion can take a bit of time to warm up, to get into, right? So I've got one heavy spring, foot bar is down. We're going to put the platform extender right here so that there's not this great big scary gap. Once they're down, then you can bring that foot bar up. So because it's just me, I'm going to do it for myself. Okay. And what we can do while we're here is we can do just, again, more extension strengthening. If you'd like, you can also make that spring really light. So if it's really light, like 1/4 spring, then you're going to be working hamstrings. So one more time, just on your back, really, really light here, making sure they're using their muscles to pull themselves back in. So it just really depends on where your client's at. If you feel like they're ready and they've got more range in their knee, then we can take the springs and give them a little bit more weight. So I'm at one heavy spring, and you can probably go maybe a half a spring as well. And this way we can get a little bit more of a hamstring stretch. So putting this platform extender back in place, we're going to grab one strap. Let's see, let's grab this one here. And we're going to be able to get a little bit of a nice hamstring stretch. So we're going to keep one foot on that foot bar at all times. You're going to have to help or assist your client placing that foot in the strap. But you can see why I don't suggest these exercises until they're maybe 3 to 6 weeks. And from here, they can use this leg to control the hamstring stretch on that leg. So again, if they can tolerate it, that's great. If it's too much stretch, they can sort of bend and protect a little bit, and then at least maybe get a stretch in through here. In this position, they can also go into a bit of an adductor stretch. So we know how those adductors can get really grouchy with any arthritis in the hip or the knee. So this is kind of a nice way to build that in. Getting a bit of a passive stretch when they're on their backs can feel really, really nice. So last but not least, one of my favorite exercises is scooter 2. So we're going to bring that stopper and that gear bar all the way in. Let's see if I can do that. So stopper is at 1, gear bar is at 1, foot bar is all the way to the top. We're going to engage one heavy spring, put the platform extender down because I'm 5'5". Anyone over 5'7", they may not really need it, but it just kind of helps. 2 hands on the foot bar, 1 foot back. And we're going to get that nice hip flexor stretch here. So if they're not comfortable kneeling on their knee, you can absolutely put like a rolled up towel just below on the shin or the tibia, and then press it back and stretch it here. So if you can imagine a towel there, they're going to have contact with the carriage. Press it back, getting some nice extension, opening up the front of that hip, and then coming back in. And then if you want to go into a little bit of glute strengthening, we're going to keep that knee hovering, press it back, finding that terminal knee extension, and then folding in. If you find that this bar is a little bit too low or it's a little bit too challenging on someone's wrists, I do like to use a jump board or a tramp, the cardio tramp attachment at the foot end of the Reformer. That can really make it a little bit more comfortable as well. So give those a try. Again, please take everything with a grain of salt. You know best for your client, and please make sure you're safe.